I was a pizza delivery guy for a local pizzeria. I liked the job, except for the late night shifts. They were boring and sometimes creepy. One night, I got an order for a large pepperoni pizza. The address was in a remote area, far from the city. I checked the map and saw that it was an old farmhouse surrounded by woods. I thought it was weird, but I didn't question it. I took the pizza and drove to the location. It was a dark and stormy night, and the road was narrow and winding. I had a bad feeling about this. I arrived at the farmhouse and parked my car. It looked abandoned and dilapidated. There were no lights on, no signs of life. The only thing that indicated someone was there was a note on the door that said, "Pizza guy, come in. I'm in the basement." I felt a chill run down my spine. I didn't want to go in, but I had to deliver the pizza. I grabbed the pizza box and walked to the door. It was unlocked and creaked open. I stepped inside and saw a dark and dusty hallway. There was a staircase leading down to the basement. I heard a faint voice from below, saying, "Pizza guy, is that you? Come down, I'm waiting for you." I hesitated, but decided to go down. I hoped it was just a prank or a weird customer. I walked down the stairs and reached the basement door. It was locked from the inside. I knocked on the door and said, "Pizza delivery." The voice said, "Great. I'm starving." I looked at the gap under the door and saw that it was too small for the pizza box to fit through. I said, "Sorry, I can't do that. The box is too big." The voice said, "Oh, that's okay. Just open the door and come in." I said, "I can't do that either. The door is locked." The voice said, "No problem. Just use the key." I said, "What key?" The voice said, "The key that's hanging on the wall behind you." I turned around and saw a rusty key hanging on a hook on the wall. I felt a surge of fear and suspicion. How did he know about the key? How did he know where I was? I said, "Who are you? How do you know these things?" The voice said, "Don't worry about that. Just use the key and come in." I said, "No way. This is too weird. I'm leaving." The voice said, "Don't do that. Don't leave me here alone." I said, "Sorry, buddy. This is not worth it." I dropped the pizza box and ran back up the stairs. As I reached the top of the stairs, I heard a loud bang from behind me. The basement door had burst open. I turned around and saw a horrifying sight. A man was standing in the doorway. He was tall and skinny, with pale skin and long black hair. He was wearing a blood-stained apron and holding a butcher knife. He had no eyes, only empty sockets. He smiled and said, "Pizza guy, you're just in time." He lunged at me with a knife. I screamed and ran for my life. I was a babysitter for a wealthy family. I liked the job, except for the creepy doll collection in the kids' room. They had dozens of dolls of different shapes and sizes, all staring at me with glassy eyes. One night, I was babysitting the kids while their parents were out for dinner. The kids were asleep in their beds, and I was watching TV in the living room. I heard a noise from upstairs. It sounded like a door opening and closing. I thought it was the kids, so I went up to check on them. I entered their room and saw that they were still asleep, but something was wrong. The dolls were gone. They were not on the shelves or on the floor or on the beds. They had disappeared. I felt a chill run down my spine. I wondered where they had gone. Then I heard a giggle from behind me. I turned around and saw a doll standing on the dresser. It was a porcelain doll with curly blonde hair and a pink dress. It had a smile on its face and a knife in its hand. It said, "Hello, babysitter. Do you want to play?" It jumped off the dresser and ran towards me. I screamed and ran for the door, but it was too late. The door slammed shut and locked itself. I was trapped in the room with the doll, and it was not alone. I saw more dolls coming out of the closet, the drawers, and the vents. They all had knives, scissors, and needles. They all had smiles, giggles, and evil intentions. They all wanted to play with me, and they did. I was working as a pizza delivery driver for a local pizzeria. It was a Friday night and I had one last delivery to make before I could go home. The address was in a remote area, far away from the city lights. I drove for about half an hour until I reached the destination. It was a rundown house surrounded by overgrown weeds and trees. The windows were boarded up and the front door was barely hanging on its hinges. It looked like no one had lived there for years. I checked the order slip and saw that the customer had requested 2 large pepperoni pizzas and a 2-liter bottle of soda. I grabbed the pizza bag and the soda from my car and walked up to the door. I knocked loudly, hoping that someone would answer. There was no response. I knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. I was about to leave when I heard a faint voice from inside. "Come in, come in. The door is open." I hesitated for a moment, feeling uneasy. I didn't like the idea of entering a stranger's house, especially one that looked so creepy. But I also didn't want to waste my time and gas driving all the way out here for nothing. Maybe the customer was elderly or disabled and couldn't come to the door. I decided to take a chance and open the door. The inside of the house was dark and dusty. There was a foul smell in the air, like rotten meat. I saw a dim light coming from a room at the end of the hallway. I followed it, hoping to find the customer and get out of there as soon as possible. "Hello, pizza delivery," I called out as I approached the room. I reached the door and pushed it open. What I saw inside made me drop the pizza bag and the soda in horror. There was a man lying on a bed, covered in blood and wounds. He had no arms or legs, only stumps that were wrapped in bandages. His eyes were wide open and his mouth was twisted in a silent scream. He looked like he had been tortured for days. Next to him, on a table, there was a laptop computer and a webcam. On the screen, I saw myself standing in the doorway, holding the pizza bag and the soda. There was also a chat window with several messages from different users. Finally, he's here. Let's see some action. Cut him up and feed him to the pizza guy. I realized then that I had walked into a trap. The man on the bed was not the customer. He was the bait. The real customers were watching online, waiting for me to become their next victim. I turned around and ran for the door, but it was too late. Someone had locked it behind me. I heard laughter from the laptop and footsteps from behind me. I screamed as I felt a sharp pain in my back.